This one here has got a knock or a rattle on the inside, which I can't identify. That's a pretty substantial rattle, so it's either, I don't know. I mean, it could be a reed valve, but I really doubt it. I'll pull the carburetors and look, but my guess is probably the piston skirt slapping or the rod bearing failing on the connecting rod, or hopefully not the crank, but the crank may have had a problem. So, but that's a death rattle. So anyway, this is 2.0. We're going to tear into this one, see if we can make it run. From all that you just saw, which of these chainsaws is a better saw? The cut speed is so much variable based on things like the sprocket size, the chain, wood conditions, the tune of the saw, although these are our auto tunes. So many things. And what makes one saw better than the other is how that particular tool, how that particular saw fits into your world. Okay? So, in this case, the things that'll make one saw better than the other saw for me have absolutely nothing to do with the cookie cuts. And I, for one, it's one of my pet peeves to see people go out there and spend 30 seconds per saw and pronounce a winner. This one's better than that one. It's faster this time than that one was in a piece of wood. The kind of things that make a good saw, yeah, it has to have enough performance to do your job, there's no doubt. But an extra tenth in a log, one saw versus the other, doesn't decide which one's a better saw for your particular operation. You have to have enough power. It has to be easy to live with. Things like this. You know, that you've been cutting for a while. Things like the start and restart. Does it idle? Does it have enough power to pull this bar, but sometimes you might need to have a 28? Things like, do you have a stocking dealer? If you have a dealer that stocks parts like air filters, handles, things that might break, that's a good saw, because as you're doing your work, something happens. If you don't have it in stock in your own inventory, can you go to the local dealer and find parts? Very, very important to me. Be it side covers for crash damage, pull start, stuff like that, little squeeze bulbs. How fuel efficient is it? How much vibration does it have? And does the weight become a problem? This one here is quite a bit heavier than that one, even though that one has a longer bar. But it's not enough difference for me to complain about it. So even though on the spec sheet, that one might have an advantage because it has a lighter weight and a longer bar and a higher chain speed on this size wood, that in of itself is really just a very small part of the whole thing to me. If I was to pick one saw to do the work around my farm, it would be this one, even though it's not as flashy as the other one. Just simply because while it's not quite as light, it's not obtrusively heavy, it doesn't vibrate, it may not quite have as much power as a full 572, but it has enough power to do what I need. I'm not hunting for more power with this saw. I've successfully pulled a 28-inch bar with it already, and very large wood. And I run a 20 on it right now because it's handy. It's what I do around here. I got a tree right down here I'm going to take down with it in a minute. So for an all-around saw, one that has to back up my other saws, that's the best saw. Okay? Well, sometimes that 562 might be my so-called best saw. It's not nearly as versatile as this one right here because it just won't pull the heavy bar. Even though in smaller wood like this, that 562 is likely going to make a cookie faster than this one. It just has more RPMs, more chain speed, and on the small sized wood it can pull that. So if you go by that metric, the cookie cuts define the winner of the saw contest, that 562 wins. But it really doesn't because of these other factors in my world. The 565, my bet's going to be around for a very, very long time. It's a very well built saw. It's got some components that Husqvarna has upgraded. So for me, if I was to pick one saw, this is a better saw. You see where I'm getting at? There's just so many other things which define the winner of a saw contest, other than the brand name and a cookie cut. So that's my pet peeve. And I love both these saws, don't get me wrong. Some days that one's a better saw for me because that's what I want to run. I like the feel and the sound, it's fun. You know, sometimes I just need this one. But this saw right here is the one that's going to back up all my fun saws. And I bought it because I know it's going to be a long-term saw for me, and it can do everything I want to do on the farm good enough. So as long as gas-powered saws are in existence, this one right here is just fine for me. You know? Now this one right here, somebody else with a different set of priorities is going to say this is the best saw. It's got a full rep handle, it's got big spikes, it's got a muffler mod, it's got a pop-up piston. Doesn't that make it the best saw here? It makes the right kinds of noises. But I can't crowd this saw. It doesn't have the torque the 565 has. So here we go again. So that's my pet peeve. This is my pet peeve video. And I'll tell you, I guess the other thing that I've learned over the years is, you know, I don't really care whether it's Steel or Dolmar or Husky. They all make good stuff. They're all good. If you like a Steel, buy a Steel. It's a great saw. if you like a Husky, buy a Husky. You know, they're a good saw as well. Same with Dolmar or Makita, and Echoes as well. So, I mean, that's where I come down on it. They're all good. Restarts. Those are excellent saws for me, but they could just as easily be the steel counterparts or the Dolmar, and I'd be just as happy with them. I'm perfectly happy with these. I don't need anything more than that. And I think what I wanted to do is I wanted to bring down my big blue saw and do another cookie cut. I'm just getting old. That's a long haul to the truck. And yeah, I'd toast both these saws in a cookie cut. Most certainly will. Does that make it a better saw? No, it doesn't, and for a lot of reasons. So, I don't want to kick a dead horse, but I think I'm going to put together a short video on that. And I got some saw work I got to put down some trees while I'm down here. Basically what's happening is, for whatever reason, this section of woods, there's a lot of dead wood. And I think it has to do with the ash. There was a lot of dead ash trees. That's what this was. And what's happened is some of the trees are still somewhat alive. So if I was to span the camera, you're going to see even the trees that are almost dead are sprouting some leaves. And they're not healthy, you know. There's a case in point right here. And I want to get them down, put them on the ground. Whether I use them for firewood, I might sell them for firewood. But I want to get them down so they don't take up sunlight and resources from the healthy trees that are like right next to them. So we're going to spend some time, I don't know, maybe once a week, a couple times a month at a minimum, even through the summertime, just to go and start putting them down, putting them down, putting them down. And then in the fall time, I'll skid them up and out and turn them into firewood. Won't go to waste, but I don't see the need to do that now. Like this tree right here, I'm going to have to break it up into a couple of pieces. But I've let this get away from me. I need to get back in here and clear cut some of the weed trees and take down some of these. So let me take this one down right here and lop it that way. The best saw for the job on that tree right there, I don't know, either one of them. How about this one? I'm tired, it's easier to pull this one over, you know, on restarts. That right there would make this saw the best saw. Not the cookie cut speed, actually not even the weight, just that factor right there is I can just snap it over when I'm carrying the saw if I need to make a cut, just the restarts. So my priority set, as long as the cookie cuts are adequate with a given chain, it doesn't matter to me. That's not what's going to make a saw better for me. There's a lot of other factors, and that's my point. And And for you, it's going to be different. Every person who's watching this is going to have a different set of priorities. And you know something? They are all correct. Maybe you want a saw that has this stuff on it, and that's what makes it cool. And it's fun to run, right? Then that's the best saw for you if it does the job. You might lose a cookie cut by a half a second here and there, but who cares? As long as the work gets done and you're not fighting with it, that's where it falls into a category of, yeah, one saw is definitely better than another. Is if you got to fight with it. You know, for example, if I'm working my big old homies, and by the time I get to the tree I'm wore out, that's not as good a saw as this one is, you know? Or you get a saw that has a hard time to restart when it's hot. That's not my saw. And I don't have any like that, by the way. Despite what some people would tell you about these, this is how it starts with me pretty much every time after it's been running for, you know, most of the day. So what else I got here? There's one right there. See that? Let's go put that one down. That one right there, I think it's going to be okay. I think I'm going to leave it. It's dying. You can see the bottom branches. So I'm going to watch that tree. It's an ash. And we'll see how it plays. And maybe this year it goes down too for firewood. But I see one right behind it. Let's go get that one. Well, this is actually the end of the one build right there. That was the first 70 horse that we stuck together. It's kind of a breezy day, so I'm not going to get out there too much, but we headed out this morning. Got some short video on it. Runs beautifully. But I sent a picture to a guy. I said, look, I put that together and it was missing this piece. I don't know whether that was important or not, but that didn't go back into the motor.
stick right here.
What do you think, co-pilot?
Water's in there. Stay that way. Stay to your side. You got a little sand beach out here. Buoy right in front of you.
Which side do I go?
I think in that side.